Bramble, do you want to look at some comics? You do? Okay.
Hi, I'm Glenn Simpson, and I've collected comics for over 40 years, and I'm showing off my collection one box at a time. Today we're looking at box number 51. We're going to finish up on Defenders, some second volume, third volume, things like that, and make our way through some demons and things like that, and make our way into Detective Comics, which is going to be a long journey. So, glad you're here. Thank you so much. Hope you will like and comment and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And there you go. Let's get going with box 51. Okay, so we pick up with the second Defenders series. This was a kind of a short 12-issue series that was written by Eric Larson and Kurt Busiek, with some art assist and some covers by Eric Larson. So if you're a big Eric Larson fan, this might be a great series for you, and it's very much a throwback to the classic Defenders series. So there you go. That's issue 1 through issue 6. Revisiting some classic characters: Red Raven, the Bi Beast, if I remember correctly, right there. Got this one's bagged wrong. I gotta flip it around. But issue 7, Namor going up against Atuma. It's not Atuma. It is Atuma. And that runs through issue 12, with one of the Nuff Said issues where there's no dialogue. It's all just the artwork right there. Then we have Giffen and De Matias from the Bwahaha Justice League times, getting on to a Defenders miniseries, 5-issue. Kevin McGuire doing the artwork. Some interesting stuff here, some funny, humorous Defenders activity. This is issue 1, and that ran through issue 5 right there. And a few years later, we have another, well, not just a few, but several years later, we have Matt Fraction and Terry Dodson doing a new Defenders series, with a little bit of a change up in the cast, but still Doctor Strange, Namor, Silver Surfer, this time with Red She-Hulk and Iron Fist hanging out, and they're having some wacky adventures there. That's issue 1, running through issue 8. Looking at that, the series will continue in issue 9 right there. They're kind of, I seem to recall this being an exploration into different realities, ending in issue 12 with one of the latest Ant-Men hanging out, helping out Nick Fury, that kind of thing. And the next Defenders series was more of a tie-in to the Netflix Marvel series, Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and taking the comics versions of those characters and sending them on an adventure. Brian Bendis doing the writing, to kind of tie in with the same flavor as the TV version. So that's issue 1. Issue 5, great Luke Cage cover, bullets just catching it at a second in time. Issue 6, kind of a parody of the first cover. We've got Deadpool showing up, who was not in the Netflix show. And issue 10, the end of that series right there. And there was another Defenders series. Al Ewing pulling in some the Betty Ross Harpy and this newer character, gosh, I forget his name, bringing back Cloud from the old Defenders series, and that's issue 1, and that ran, Masked Raider, that was his name, that runs through issue 5. We have the Mother of Galactus hanging out with him. So that was that issue series, and I guess that did fairly well. They decided to rename it a bit, because then we get Defenders Beyond, more Al Ewing, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, more Al Ewing, more Mother of Galactus, bringing in some other characters on a reality jumping adventure. That's issue 1, and then that version ends with issue 5 right there. Got a Defenders from the Marvel Vault. This was basically stories that were commissioned and written and drawn and kind of held on standby in case the original series didn't, had a failure of meeting the deadline. And I'm guessing this was from that Busiek and Larson series, because just with Busiek being on here. So, and then later they just published it as a one-shot just to get some use out of it. So that. Got Defenders, the Best Defense, which the Best Defense was a line of one-shots that ran through several series a few years ago, and I am drawing a blank on what the common theme was, but hey, Defenders there. Cheated a little with the alphabetizing to keep all of the Marvel Defenders together, and then now we're doing Defenders of the Earth, which is a Marvel Star Comics starring these classic comic strip heroes, the Phantom, Flash Gordon, Mandrake the Magician, and they are going up against Ming the Merciless, Flash Gordon's enemy. And I think there was a cartoon, maybe, not sure, but that's issue 1, and that runs through issue 4 right there. And we get into the Demon category, and I don't have any of the original Demon, 1960s Demon, but I pick up with the 1980s Demon series. Matt Wagner, known for his Mage and Grendel series, does for DC a 4-issue Demon series right there. It's issue 1. And that ran through issue 4 right there. And a few years later, we get into Garth Ennis and Alan Grant and some other writers. So Garth Ennis is on this 0 issue, which is of course not really the first issue, but numerically it is. This one came out during the 0 hour time, and it's Garth Ennis and John McCrae on this Demon 0. Then we get to issue 1, the actual issue 1, with Alan Grant, Val Simics doing art,
and this is a regular ongoing series that lasted a while for the demon. Lots of craziness. It's issue 1. There's issue 8 of that. Let's see. Of course, the demon had his girlfriend and his buddy who had been transformed into a throw pillow. All kinds of weird stuff. 9 right there. She's 16. Jason Blood was the guy that was transformed into the demon Etrigan, or they would switch places depending on how you look at it. Right there, they got separated. Got a guest starring appearance by Wonder Woman as part of the War of the Gods. All of the different pantheons of gods going to war with each other and stuff. This is issue 17. Got issue 24. Kind of a humorous look at, Jason Blood's his girlfriend, who's usually the weak and meek kind of person, and she's mad and she's not taking it anymore. Right there, issue 24. And I've collected this mostly as back issues, so I think I have all of them. Issue 25. There. Kind of a beauty shot of the demon. Issue 32, Wonder Woman back. Never noticed that before, but maybe I guess she was a popular guest star for the demon. There. Issue 32. Got issue. Oh. Yo. Okay. All right. Issue 33. Kind of a badly packaged pack. I'll fix that in a sec. Demon going up against Lobo. There's the Lobo logo. Issue 33. And then some point between there and here, Garth Ennis and John McCrae come on, and they are, do a kind of an award-winning, I think, run on this. Continue into issue 41. There. Going back to the old days of the demon, I guess. Or don't remember all these storylines as well as some others. Issue 41. Issue 44. Right there. I'm not the greatest. I don't care that much for John McCrae's art, but I think it works for this character. The ears are out of control. 45. There. Fighting over ownership of hell or something along those lines. 51. Back on the streets of the real world. There. '52. So along the way, as we're about to see, there was a Dead Demon annual that introduced Hitman. So he's teaming up with Demon here, and we've got some other things going. There's the friend that's turned into the throw pillow. And the series, I believe, ends with 58. There. A couple of annuals. We've got part of this one came out during the year that all of the annuals were part of the Eclipso, the Darkness Within storyline. Etrigan going up against Clarion the Witch Boy, who has been eclipsed. See his face? He's been eclipsed. He's out of control. And then the next annual came out during this Bloodlines storyline. Aliens come to Earth. They feed on people. They suck their fluids out of their spinal cords. But sometimes, for very few people, arguably, for those who are deep into the DC lore, I guess the people with the metagene, they get superpowers. One of them being this guy who was a hitman, and he gains telepathy and X-ray vision, making him an even better hitman. And I think it's fair to say, if I remember correctly, he's probably the most successful of those Bloodlines heroes. He, as much as he's a hero, most of them kind of fell off the roster for the most part. But he first shows up during the Demon Annual. Number 2. Got one issue of Demon Driven Out. I got to get the rest of those at some point. A mini-series with the Demon. At some point I picked up Demon Hunter from Atlas Comics. Atlas Comics being a competitor of Marvel's during the 70s. And what's interesting is that there are several characters that were introduced here who would go on to sort of show up in slightly altered form at Marvel. If you go back to our early Defenders look, I think that was last video or the video before, the Demon Slayer character looks a lot like this, and it's the same writer, same thing. So I think that was a deliberate sort of thing. But that's Demon Hunter, number 1 from Atlas Comics. And in the New 52, DC did a series called Demon Knights, which was basically several of their characters that would have been around during the Middle Ages, and sending them on a few adventures. Like all of those series, it got a 0 issue with the Demon on the front. Alright. And not being a big Wildstorm person, it took me a while to figure out that there's also a play on, there's the Daemonites, bad guys in the Wildstorm stuff, but I don't know that a connection is necessarily made here. But again, we've got Etrigan, the Demon, on Demon Knights number 1. Goes through issue 8. There. He's, of course, the most showy and well known of the Demon Knights. I think that's Madame Xanadu, or Nimue, as she was probably, I think, known back then. But that's why he gets to be on the cover of every issue. 9, Murder of Merlin. I think we established at some point that Etrigan and Merlin were brothers. Not in this series, but one of the earlier series. Issue 16. There, the team getting their butt kicked by some folks. There. 17. It's like Jason Blood has been captured, so they can't release Etrigan from him. And that runs through issue 23. Vandal Savage has been a member of this team the whole time, but again, because he's not as cool as Etrigan, he didn't get to show up on the covers. There's also the second Shining Knight from Grant Morrison's Seven Soldiers series, and a new character that was a Amazon from Paradise, from Themyscira, and a couple of other characters. But that's the final issue. It's issue 23. Alphabetically speaking, we go to the Despicable Deadpool, so another Deadpool series here. Just kind of picked up a couple of issues of this, don't even remember why. 287 and 288 there. So not every series in Deadpool is just Deadpool, or starts with the Deadpool. This Max series I'm working on, still getting all of Destroyer. So the Destroyer was originally a World War II character, and he was kind of brought back in the Invaders series in the 70s and popped up here and there, and so this was kind of a newish version of that. I've got issue 1 and 4 of that series right there. Got to get the rest of those. All right, buckle up, folks. We're going into Detective Comics. So numerically, we're going to start with issue 0, from the 0 hour. Got Bruce and Tim Drake having some action there in issue 0. Got a facsimile of 31 right there, big old $6.99 issue number. I've got, I think, the facsimile of 27, but it's actually so oversized it doesn't fit in a regular comics box. So it's in my other boxes with like the tabloids and things like that. And we'll look at those when we get done with all of the regular books. A couple of reprints of 38. This one is the Millennium Edition that came out around 2000 there, and the more recent facsimile. I really don't mean to get both, but I sometimes don't remember to check to see that I already have the Millennium Edition of things. Got a facsimile of 140. First appearance of the Riddler there. Got Millennium Edition of 327. The first, what they call new look Batman. So, it had that kind of 1950s, just the black bat on his chest, and it was Bob Kane, or that style, that really cartoony look. And this was when I believe Carmine Infantino came in and redesigned it and reset the model to look a little more realistic. And this was the first issue that we got to see that. Got a couple of versions, once again, of 359. First appearance of Barbara Gordon as Batgirl. There's a Millennium Edition and a facsimile, because I forgot to check. So you don't have the Millennium Edition and order facsimile. We've got a Millennium Edition of 395. So once again, kind of another transition point. When I say realistic, it was still kind of just gradually making him, more realistically drawn and things like that. So this Neil Adams kind of took it to the next level of, and I think that's the level we're at kind of now, basically. And so that's a Millennium Edition of 395. A facsimile of 400, which introduced the Man-Bat there, who was very much a hero spin-off when he first was introduced. A facsimile of 411, which I believe is the first Talia Ghul, or first Ra's al Ghul, or something along those lines. One of those, some combination of those. And those are all my, well, not all of them, but most of my pre-getting the real issues. 418, I fell in love with the Creeper at one point, and so I had to have all of the Creeper appearances. So I had to go back and get the issue 418. I feel like they're just not doing enough with the Creeper. The Creeper was a cool character. It was, kind of a what if Batman, instead of being dark and scary and serious, he was crazy, and used that to terrify the criminals by his being crazy, and that was what the Creeper did originally. So, but anyway, to take the comics 418. And we got a little jump to 455. Original issue. Got Hawkman backup story going on there. 457. There, Elongated Man having a backup story. Got a Big Boy book. 458. There, Man-Bat backup. There. $4.59. Continuing that Man-Bat backup, and Batman making Alfred take the rap for a murder. Dang, Batman. Poor Alfred. 460. Batman. I think this whole storyline was different people dressing up as Batman, and Batman figuring out who was killing them all, something like that. Tim Trench, kind of an utterly boring backup series there. And Captain, what is this? Captain something. Not Captain Crunch, but something. Captain something. That villain. $461 there. 1976. We're saluting the bicentennial. And 464. Batman fighting Black Spider. He's a spider-like man, but he's Black Spider. Don't get confused. Right there. And of course he shoots guns and stuff, so yeah. It's not too confusing. He got 465 which was the cover that there were a lot of ads for this issue in other comics, so you may have seen that image in other comics, and so this was the issue that they were advertising. Elongated Man, backup stories. 468. Batman going up against the Calculator. He had fought several different heroes, and his gimmick was once he was beaten by a hero, then that hero couldn't beat him again. And so they had to keep bringing in new heroes. So that kind of rolled through different stories that villain did, as different heroes had to beat him each time. I think this needs to I'm going to go ahead and do this. I think I have it filed differently. So the Marshall Rogers period of Batman, the very loved time in the series, and some of those issues are kind of pricey, so they were all reprinted here in this Batman Strange Apparitions trade. And so for 2 or 3 of them that I didn't have, this is kind of taking the place, but I actually do have several of them that are reprinted here. So, oh, look, Dr. Phosphorus from Creature Commandos, the recent animated series from the new DCU, but got Batman going up against Professor Hugo Strange and Detective 471 from that time frame. Marshall Rogers. There, Steve Englehart, I believe, is doing the writing on these. So it's not just this, Marshall Rogers. The stories are good too. 472. Batman is Dead. Long Live the New Batman. Groovy logo right there. We're getting the first of Silver St. Cloud, I believe, in here as well somewhere. Batman and Robin teaming up in 473. Going up against the Penguin. I think this is the one I bought, not realizing I already had it in like a digest reprint. But cool to have the original one as well. Oops. There you go. There we go. One more facsimile. I think this is also reprinted in that trade paperback, but 475. Not the original on that. But and eventually we get back into all original story. Well, okay, so this is also the newest, that latest Clayface. That story would have been reprinted in that series. So that's through 479. I guess there's a lot reprinted. Well, the backups probably weren't reprinted in that series, come to think of it. So, anywho, I'll have to figure that out. And I think this was the final issue before it becomes Detective Comics and Batman Family merge. And so, because I think this is the last regular, like, 44 pages. So Batman versus this guy, Hawkman back up, because after that, 482, we're into full Batman family mode with individual stories for each character. Got Batmite getting his own little story there. Big Boy issue, 40th anniversary issue, 483. There. No ads from cover to cover. There. Yeah, when it says it was Batman Family, and then, so the previous ones were like Detective Comics featuring the Batman family, and now it's like the Batman family in Detective Comics. So the emphasis is shifting, and sometimes the nature of who is in the Batman family kind of is a bit loosey-goosey, because we have a demon story, human target. So we're really just kind of going back to more of an anthology series, but got Batgirl here. This one in 485. Picking up on some of the old Richard Dragon Kung Fu Fighter storylines here with Bronze Tiger showing up there. 486 right there. Human Target, Alfred getting his own little story there. 488. For me personally, I think this is probably my original issue. I just have done a lot to, I can't remember if this is a replacement or this is my original issue, but this was one I had way back when it first came out and read the heck out of it. So that's the Batman versus the Spook with some other backup stories. Another one that was well advertised. That Image, Robin and Batgirl teaming up. Commissioner Gordon on his first solo story, and the Atom in Detective 489. 492. We are starting to see the I don't think this is the real end of Batgirl. This is not when she really retired. I think this was just a fake off kind of thing. But Robin, Man-Bat's still a good guy. There, 492. 493. Team, got the various heroes. Got Red Tornado. Yes, thank you. Red Tornado. Red Tornado's a cool character. Here in 493. Human Target. Good stuff. 494. The Crime Doctor is first. This was the first or second appearance of the Crime Doctor, and he would come back a few times later. Black Lightning. I think this was a. No, this might have been an original story. I think it may have been World's Finest that had reprinted one of the issues that had been drawn, and then when his original series was canceled. I think this is just a genuinely new story. Then 497, we're getting back down to single stories, with just one backup. Here in 497, Batgirl accused of murder. $498. Following up on a story from a couple of years prior that had Blockbuster at Christmas, and Blockbuster is returning. Meanwhile, in the background, Batgirl is still dealing with that murder accusation. And $4.99, the end of that Batgirl thing. Blockbuster and Batman teaming up to help some folks, because Blockbuster is not all bad. There, and inside we have 500, which you can see probably other places, but if you want to see mine, let me know. I'll pop it open and we'll take a look. But 500 featuring lots of different guest characters and Sherlock Holmes and some things like that. But here in 501, got Lucius Fox and got Alfred, and one of them might be a murderer. And we just figured out that Batgirl's not a murderer, and now one of them is a murderer. Everybody keeps getting accused of being a murderer. Why can't people just leave people alone? 502. Alfred, Lucius, Batman, dealing with that. 504. This used to be a bit of a pricey book just because of when the 88, 89 movie came out, Batman movie, then everything with the Joker shot up. Not to mention, I think this is, I can't remember who the artist is, but but anything with the Joker on it went up. So this used to be pricey, but it settled back down. 504, Batman versus Joker. 505, Batman with Batgirl in the back there under a werewolf. For some reason this is a pricey book. Got 506, Batman versus the Mannequin there. 507, still for that fight with the Mannequin. I think a buddy of mine had this book. I remember reading it and then, later buying it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is that book that my friend Paul had. Issue 507. Batman versus 508 versus the Pharaoh. Missed the opportunity to go with King Tut here. Didn't want to go there, I guess. But that's Detective 508. I got a little pack here. 509. There, Batman versus Catman. Part of Catman's shtick at this point was that his costume would give him 9 lives, and so if he got mortally injured, he would come back to life as long as he had on his costume. They kind of dropped that later, but we're going to jump to 513 there. I don't know that this scene actually happens in the series, in the story. We've got 514, so I remember this story being reprinted in one of the Best of DC digest, says one of the best stories of this year. So it's just, it's nothing continuity wise, it's just a good story. 15, lots of stuff going on, matches balloon, things like that. Batgirl backups continue. 517, Gene Colan coming on from Marvel Daredevil. He would wind up doing a lot of Batman in the in the 80s. So that's 517 right there. I think that was part of a vampire storyline. All right, 518. We've got the return of Deadshot. I believe this was the first time we'd seen Deadshot since his, very early 1950s kind of cheesy appearance. It's the first appearance of him in his sort of one-eye costume, and they were just going back. They did that several times. They would take some of the cheesier villains from the 1950s and just kind of revamp them and bring them back, since at that time, even though those 1950s stories were really weird and lots of aliens and things like that, they were officially still part of Batman's history. So there was so even those weird villains from back then were kind of counted and could be used. We've got 519 versus Colonel Blimp, if I remember correctly. A villain who specializes in flying around in a blimp. Yeah, okay. He's deadly. 522. The Snowman. And at some point we've started with the Green Arrow backups in Detective. Green Arrow did not get really his own ongoing series until the late 80s. And so this was his, where he used to show up. He was in for a long time, is in the backups in Detective Comics. So that's 522. Batman going up against Solomon Grundy. Right there. Hannigan doing that cape hanging over the symbol thing that Walt Simonson likes to do. Here in 523. And once again, I left one out of because it was in the big boy box. But 524. First appearance of what is this? The first appearance of Jason Todd et al. I think that's what that is. With Batman going up against the Squid. So that is a big boy book. Detective Comics 524. Oh, here we go. We're getting into some stuff. 525. Batman, first appearance of Killer Croc. Right there, the villain, who at the time was kind of bounced around. Over time, he has bounced around between just being a guy who is a normal guy just with a skin condition to being, a fully transformed, brutal animal crocodile man, just depending on the writer. My headcanon is that his condition causes him to switch back and forth. But that's 525. We have the anniversary, the 500th appearance of Batman in Detective Comics, because of course he first appeared in issue 27. So we've got lots of villains. We got Don Newton doing art. Continuing that story with Killer Croc there. 528. Batman going up against the Skulls, which is like a gang. Gene Colan coming on to do that artwork. At some point he comes on and stays. 529, the Thief of Night. So the Thief of Night and Nocturna would come along. So back. All right. So I accidentally screwed up the music. It was a little too loud, and so I'm having to redo this part. And I don't remember everything I was saying, so bear with me. 529, the Thief of Night. And then through 530 something, Batman fighting some clowns there. So there you go with that. And 532 got Batman versus the Joker, and a classic cover here. And literally guessing from my hand movements what I was talking about. The next issue, 532, I believe. I remember I remember at the time when it first came out, really being impressed with the new way of displaying that information in the corner. That was just really kind of cool to me for some reason. I did not get the Geffen Legion poster, but I kind of wanted it. But 536, Batman versus Deadshot, cover by Paris Cullens and Dick Giordano, fighting in a sewer. Characters fight in sewers all the time, and they don't, the sewers are nasty.
And I did get the new Teen Titans poster by George Perez. I don't have the original with me anymore, but I do have another one hanging on the wall nearby where I sit right now. So, got to check the volume on each song before. Let's see. Detective Comics. Come on, Glenn. Bring it down. Bring it down. Bring it down, buddy. There you go. 537. Batman versus the mole. Not the mole man, but the mole. And this was during a period when, there I go. Yeah, Batman stories were bouncing back and forth between Detective Comics and Batman, but I read something once that people were actually still buying Batman more than they were Detective Comics, which meant that they were getting only half of the story most of the time, which was of course really weird. So then that was, we got 530 something with Batman, Batplane exploding. And we've got Detective Comics 542. The threat of Jason Todd being taken away from Bruce Wayne. People are starting to notice some bruises and stuff. There's some social workers that come in and are keeping an eye on things and investigating the situation. And then we get to this issue, 540 something. That is where the Thief of Night gets hurt, gets rescued by this blind girl. He convinces her that he is Batman, and things get creepy as he leads her on in a romantic way.
All right, there we go. That was box 51. Next time we will do box 52. We will be doing all Detective Comics all the time. So I hope all you Bat fans will be here for that. In the meantime, again, hope you will like and comment and subscribe. If there's anything inside one of the packs that you'd like to see more of, please be sure to let me know. But otherwise, have a great day.